Hey guys, welcome to this 10-minute follow along bodyweight workout for mountain bikers. We're going to be performing a series of movements with no equipment, just a comfy mat on the floor, and we're going to be working for a minute at a time. The nice thing about that means that you can follow along, take a break if you need to. If you feel like you can get through this guy 3 times without taking any rest, then you're probably in a good place to move on to something more advanced. Now we're starting off with a glute bridge march here. I've curled my butt up into the air to let my lower back follow, which means my abs are engaged and I can hopefully feel lots of glute activation. All right, now I'm taking an alternating foot off the floor, and the aim of the game there is to not let my pelvis drop or twist. As we get more and more fatigue building up here, it's possible or even likely that you're going to feel your lower back or your hamstrings kick in. And because they're not the target muscles, you can come back down, take a little break, reset, and go back up again if you want to get a little bit more working. But by all means, stop early and get ready for the next exercise, which is coming up. As I mentioned before, we're going to be going for about a minute per exercise. Once you can complete everything without taking a break, go for another round, see how many times you can get around. Once you can get to 3 rounds, you're probably doing well and looking for a more advanced program. Now the next drill we're going for is a quadruped crawl. So I'm taking little steps forward and backwards. This is a more controlled movement than a bear crawl. I'm looking to keep my knees close to the floor and under my hips. I'm looking to keep my hands about equidistant from each other and mostly under my shoulders. My spine is staying as straight as I can manage it. If it feels like it's curving up or if it's sagging down, I'm just going to stop and take a reset. Now this one's also going to work shoulder joint, right? If we worry about maintaining a good protracted set of shoulders, that means we're pushing our chest far away from the floor, making sure that our shoulder blades are hugging onto the back of our rib cage. I mentioned neutral spine already, and I'm drawing my belly button up towards my spine. And I'm also feeling a ton of quads and knees here, right? So as these things get more and more fatigued, you're going to want to back off and take a break and make sure you can maintain good form. Now I'm into my alternating forward lunge. Now coming after that quadruped crawl, this one's going to be pretty burny on the knees, but that's okay. Make sure that we're descending with some control. We're starting to worry about eccentric forces now as we fall down towards the floor. As a mountain biker, you need to be able to control those forces. So when you hit the ground with that front foot, you should be lowering under control. It doesn't have to be crazy slow, but it should sound soft when your foot hits the floor, and your knee should not be crashing into the ground. If you can push back smooth and remain in roughly the same spot without traveling around your mat, then you're probably doing a good job of maintaining control. As always, slow it down if you feel like you're losing control. Take a break if you need to. Anything that doesn't feel right in the knees, just stop this guy. And feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk about finding some more suitable exercises. Next drill is the hand release push-up. Okay, we're dropping all the way down, trying to get hips and chest to land on the floor at the same time. And again, we're controlling eccentric force here. I probably don't need to explain to you mountain bikers why eccentric control through the arms matters. So I'm letting my hips and chest hit the floor at the same time before releasing my hands from the ground. The act of taking them off the floor is actively engaging the shoulder blades and setting us up in a stable position to push. Although our shoulder blades are on our back and our pushing muscles are on our front, having a stable set of shoulder blades is what's going to allow our chest to express the strength that it's got. If you can get good at these guys, you're going to be improving your bench press, your dumbbell bench, and guess what? Your mountain bike handling as well. Next drill is a great little unwinding drill for the spine. It's called a floor scorpion, so trying to keep my arms and hands flat on the floor. I'm just going to lift one leg up off the ground, reach behind me, and stretch it to the wall. Okay? So I'm getting some stretch in the front of the hip flexor as I reach backwards, and I'm also getting some rotation in the spine. Because we're rotating the spine, we want to move slow and under control through this one. This should be a nice little break at the midway point of our workout. One tip I like to think about when I'm doing this one is to reach my forward hand, the hand I'm facing, stretch it forward as far as I can so that I can feel my mid-back engage. Waiting for the minute to come around again. And now we're into our hollow hold. This is tricky. This is kind of like an inverted plank here. So I'm asking my abdominal muscles to keep my spine flat on the floor. Because my legs are off the ground, what my lower back wants to do right now is pop up. Okay? So I'm forcing my lower back into the floor. I'm reaching my fingers long and away from my toes. I'm trying to keep my shoulder blades off the ground. You can scale this one. If you want to make this a little easier, if it's getting really hard, you're just going to bring your knees in, tuck them up a little bit, and effectively shorten those levers. But the same principles apply for your spine. You want to keep it flat, lower back depressed into the floor, and shoulder blades just lifted away from the ground. This one's really going to burn, but the nice thing is that you can scale it. And as always, you can take a break if you need to. Okay, for our next drill, we're up onto our feet and we're getting into some alternating lateral lunge here. This is effectively a single leg squat. When we step out to the side, we want to plant that foot firmly, letting the toes and the heel contact the ground. Keeping our trailing leg straight, you're going to notice some stretching happening down the inner thigh. What we really want to focus on here is keeping good knee alignment through that bending leg and sitting the hips down as close as you can towards the heels. Some people have better mobility than others. This one's going to really get into your glutes. It's going to hit your quads as well. And you'll be surprised. You might feel a little bit of inner thigh, sometimes a little bit of soreness the next day on this one if you haven't done it before. I've known people to have real trouble with this one. So go easy. Don't get too deep. Don't move too fast. And again, think about that eccentric force that we're absorbing when we land. Plant that foot on the ground quietly with control. Back on the floor now. And we're working on our prone Ys. All right, now bikers, we get pretty kyphotic. That means we can get a round upper back, right? Loss of posture from long periods spent in the saddle on the bike, and so this is a great way of waking up those upper back muscles and improving not only the overall health of our shoulders but also our posture. Okay, so what I'm looking to do here is actually keep my nose on the ground. Some people will crane their head and their feet up off the floor, but we're going to keep nose on the floor and we're going to keep legs relaxed, so we're not tensing up anywhere else through the back. We want this effort to come from shoulder blades, all right? So we're just gently and subtly lifting the arms off the floor. They don't have to come a million miles off the ground. And if you do that and you get it right, you should notice the backs of the shoulders and ideally in between the shoulder blades working quite hard here. A lot of us are going to feel upper traps getting up into the neck, and that's a good indication that you should probably back off a little bit, take a break, reset, make sure that you're not shrugging. Next up is the plank, and as you can see, yeah, this is just like the inverted version of that hollow hold that we did. So things I like to think about with a plank are we don't necessarily want the plank that we can hold all day. We want the plank where we could stack up weight on our back, and the way we're going to achieve that is by creating a ton of tension. So the first thing I'm doing is making sure that my spine is aligned with my pelvis and rib cage in line as well. So I usually tuck my butt a little bit. So thinking about tucking my tailbone under, and then I'm also making sure that my shoulders are protracted. That has a funny way of engaging our abs, all right? So I push my chest away from the floor to protract my shoulders. Then the next thing I'm doing is I'm pulling my heels and my toes towards each other here. That's creating tension, all right? Some of us, when we get tired, if we get lazy, or if we just don't know, we'll end up pushing our elbows and our feet away from each other, and that creates shoulder tension. All right, and our last movement in this workout is the isometric squat. So I guess it's not really a movement, is it? Anyway, you're going to notice that your legs burn, but that's not the only reason we're doing it. It's going to teach us great position for all of our future squats. Isometrics have a pretty magical way of doing that. I think because we have so much time to sit and think about what we're feeling and where we are in space. Anyway, the sign of a good squat is when you can get your hip crease below the tops of your knees. All right, so that says we're below parallel. And we're also trying to keep an upright chest, head up, straight spine. As you continue through this one, if you feel your spine rounding, by all means take a break, reset, and go again. Everybody's going to have a different foot position in terms of width and how far out you turn your feet, so I encourage you to explore that during this exercise. It's a great safe place to do that, and like I said, it's going to teach you to squat better down the line. Way to go, guys. Down for another round?